All right, back with Susan Reese and perfect pork pairings tonight. We're doing our first recipe, which is a curried pork with apples. Could there be anything more perfect than apples and pork? We're going to talk more about that in just a minute, but let's get started on what looks to be just an amazing little combo here.
Yeah, so we're starting off with our pork stir-fry strips. So you can buy them this way in the store. That's what the package would be labeled as. If you can't find them, you can always cut strips yourself using just some pork loin center cut chops and just cutting them into like 2-inch strips. And yeah.
And they don't really cook down a whole lot.
They don't. And all we're going to do is brown them. You're going to want to do this in batches, and they don't need to be cooked fully through either, because we're going to continue to cook them after with all of the other good stuff that's going to go in the pan. So we're really just browning them. And again, like pork loin, super lean, right? Like there's very little to no fat on there. Also, no growth hormones added ever in Canadian pork, so that's also a nice little feature.
Yeah, important for people to know.
Yeah, and also very economical.
Which is, I mean, it's always been relevant, but it doesn't it seem like these days it's even more relevant.
And you really want to like stretch that grocery dollar, right? So
totally.
That's what makes this a great dish too, is because it serves like 6 to 8 people. So. You know, there's lots to go around. So as you can see, like these are already starting to brown.
Yeah, does not take very long at all.
Doesn't take very long.
Yeah.
And then we would basically just move them over to a plate and just set them aside. So I'm going to keep doing this just to get some more brown
How
on
can
here.
I help you, Susan? What can I do?
Help me just by keeping an eye on that, making sure that that doesn't...
I'm on it. Yeah, and so, you know, pork, apples. We've got some very interesting spices as well with this recipe. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about that. That's coming in just a second here.
The thing with the pork and the apples too is, you know, pork is such a mild meat that it really pairs well with just about anything.
What is it about apples particularly, though?
I don't know. I think it's just the sweetness, the acidity. It's just one of those classic pairings. Like it's a match made in heaven.
It is. We're going to have more of that to share with you, also in our, recipe number 2.
Okay, I'm going to remove these just because this is taking a little bit longer than.
Sure. Got to keep things moving.
Expected. Yeah, absolutely. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to saute our onion and our garlic and some celery. So lots of veggies in this dish. There we go. Get all of that in there.
So how much satisfaction does it bring you, Susan, when you kind of get feedback from folks who watch you make these recipes on the show, and then they share, okay, this is how it went for me. This is I made this, I tried this, I loved this.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we get comments on our recipes all the time, and yeah, it's nice to get that feedback. So apples, onions, celery, we'd let that cook for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to add in our bell peppers, and we've got some apple. And you want to pick an apple that's not, doesn't have a thick skin on it, right? Because thick skin tends to have, be waxy.
Right.
So we've picked a Fuji or a Gala, something like that, that has a nice thin skin because we're cooking with the skin on.
Would you ever peel it?
No.
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 No, because you're going to get the fiber, right, from the peel, and it also looks pretty.
Yep.
So add that in, then add in our chickpeas. So we're getting
that's kind of a
more
cool
fiber and protein in there.
Little addition, yeah.
And then we would let that cook for another 3-4 minutes, just until the vegetables start to get soft, the apples get a little bit soft. And then we're going to add in some flour. So we're going to sprinkle our whole dish with flour.
Thicken it up a little bit.
And you don't want to just dump it all in one go. And then we've got some spices here. So we've got some curry powder. And I would suggest looking for mild curry powder, not hot, because I've made that mistake. And it's packs
Although I
quite a
guess
bit of heat.
If you like that sort of thing.
Well, we've got some heat in the garam masala. So this is a common in East Indian spice. You can find it anywhere. Really fragrant, flavorful. It's got a bit of heat from the pepper, but also has some floral notes in it as well. So really interesting flavor profile.
Well, again, you know, any of these spices would taste awesome with pork, but then you've got the apples in there as well, and like that, you know what it is? It's a perfect pairing.
Exactly.
It's perfect pairings. Yeah.
And then once that's all mixed in, we want to add just little bit of red pepper flakes as well. We're going to add in some chicken broth.
For somebody who's concerned about things being too hot, that seems pretty generous.
Well, I like spice, so
I do too.
You know, you can control how much curry and how much garam masala you put in. And then this would simmer for about 6 to 7 minutes, and it would cook down, just like what you've got there.
Okay.
That's what it's going to look like.
Now I'm guessing we want to add some of this pork back in.
Yes, and then you add your pork strips back in.
Shall I?
Using the tongs, because you don't want to add the juice so that it kind of
you just made it nice and thick.
Exactly.
As I go and dump all the juice in there.
Well, you try your best, right?
I sure do, Susan.
And then you would serve this over rice, basmati rice, and you can garnish with some slivered almonds, some cilantro, and even a dollop of yogurt if you want. That will help tone down some of that heat.
It's kind of fantastic.
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Okay.
I'll keep watching this.
Do you want me to pop these garnishes on there?
No, we would do that as you're serving, because everyone likes different things, right?
Okay.
So again, if you like almonds, great. If you don't, then don't put it on. If you don't want the yogurt, that's fine too.
Okay, I'm gonna have a little taste of this, but just want to encourage you to stick around, because when we come back, we're doing our maple cider chops with apples here on Great Taste of Manitoba. Don't go away.
We appreciate you, whether you're new to this channel or a long-time viewer. If you'd like to join us in the kitchen regularly and meet farm families across Manitoba, please subscribe. We share new videos every Sunday.